Hello, YouTube, and today we're back with another podcast. Today with HeinzFeurig. Say hello.
Hello.
And Heinz was the former leader of the Byzantine Empire. He also led a few other groups in the genre. Was part of some other groups, but he's had a bit of a history. He's kind of a new leader here, so we're going to do a podcast and learn a bit more about him. All right. So my first question for you, Mr. Heinz, is why did you sell Byzantine?
Okay, so I get this a lot, especially from a lot of my loyalists and Feurigs. They ask me why I sold Byzantium, and to that I just have to say that I got extremely unpassionate, I'd say, about the project. I really didn't like how it was going. I had a lot of incompetent officers. I had a lot of corruptness. I had a lot of AA, and towards the end, it was just kind of falling inactive. But then again, we'd have like 5 or 10 random people without no events or no ads. So clearly, it could have, went somewhere. But I just decided to continue on with different projects from there.
I see. Yeah. Um, I guess that makes a lot of sense. I didn't
Hmm.
really care much about it being sold. I was just surprised because I went there and had a nice aesthetic, and it was quite active. It's very
Hmm.
rare when you see at least 20 army men logged on in a game these days,
Yeah,
as a lot of groups
definitely.
are dying, and I'm like, huh, you know. I thought it was the map was just boring or something.
Yeah. The thing is, I wasn't expecting Byzantium to take off. That was only the, third group that I made. The two other groups beforehand, I didn't even launch. So this was really the first group that actually I got up off of its feet. I really didn't expect it to do as well as it did. It really struck me and struck my high command. So I think all of us just really weren't expecting it. So hopefully in the future, then we'll be able to actually prepare for a large influx of members and being the center of attention for, well, not really the center of attention, obviously, but, sort of in the spotlight, I guess you could say.
Yeah, a lot of people strive for being in the spotlight of relevancy. At least, I have as well. Tira was our first
Mm,
group when we were kind of in the spotlight, and well, after that point on, it was like didn't really care that much anymore. You know, there's not
yeah.
much I could have really done because when I was in the spotlight, it was really a bad thing than it was a good thing. It was more I was getting a lot more hate than I was getting good statements and stuff. At the same time, it was good because I had a natural influx of manpower. We were getting a lot of more members because we were a lot more popular, and despite the bad rep, a lot of people that were you know, that knew about me or heard about me still were interested and joined. But otherwise, I think that when Lavo and all the other old gens leave, it's going to leave people like me, you, Joe, and Copenhagen and Cab
Mm,
to be left, and I think that will be the deciders of what happens with this community.
yeah, for sure. I could definitely see that in the foreseeable future.
Right. My next question is really, the Furrigs themselves. So what's going on with the Furrigs? So you've
All
achieved
right.
your dynasty, and it's like I don't know what's going on with the Furrigs.
So how we're doing now, actually, I want to kind of branch this off into multiple topics, but the Feurigs right now are actually doing pretty well. We haven't really hosted any ceremonial events recently because I've been busy with my new project. I've been busy with I've been busy with making law books with documents, organizing the high command, doing meetings, doing rallies, stuff like that. And honestly, the Feurigs have been doing pretty good. We got like 10 active actual like Feurigs out of Byzantium, which I mean doesn't sound too good, but they're pretty competent, they're pretty active, so they'll definitely fill the high command slots and do some things here and there, and that's it's good to see you know all of that happen, and it's just I honestly don't even know what to say. It just all happens so fast, I went from an irrelevant dynasty with like 20 members, like 3 loyalists. Everyone was inactive, and then all of a sudden I shoot up to like 50 dynasty members. I get a bunch of loyalists. It's like, what do you even say? It's a strike in the face, honestly. But yeah, the whole reason I actually started the Furies, and I wanted to bring this up with you, is because I was in the Richter Imperium. I was a field marshal in your group. And I don't really want to get too much into that because that'll, be mentioned up later in this podcast. But I started the Furies because you exiled me. I got pretty salty because, I liked your group. So I think the first member was Dylan, if you remember him. I don't know if he's
Yes.
still in your group. Yeah, he was still in your group. I don't know if that was like a spy you sent to see what I was doing, but he was my first member. After that, Guns Furig joined, which is my deputy now. And then after that, I just kept getting a constant stream of just like one member, one new loyalist every month. So yeah, that's kind of how we all started.
Yeah, when I first heard about your dynasty, it was this female that DM'd me, and she said that she worked for me too, and she was like, the Furigs are a cult that like
I
try
remember
to
that.
like kidnap women or something like that. I'm like, what?
I remember someone came to my game. But yeah, back then the Furies were really edgy, and I'm gonna admit it. We did really weird shit. We did like blood rituals. We did like sacrifice. It was really edgy. I'm sure you've heard about it though. But we've
Yeah,
obviously moved on since then. It's more of like ceremonial, like, oh, say this, swear your loyalty, and then sit down, that kind of stuff.
yeah.
I haven't even done that in months, so
hmm
you know.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting these dynasties popping up. I think of it like
Oh
Game of
yeah, with the
Thrones, you know.
Fromwells and the Hilariums, all that stuff. You guys too. Well, you guys have been around for quite some time. I believe it's 2016 you guys formed the Richter
Uh,
Imperium. Well, not the Richter Imperium, but the Richter Dynasty, rather.
yeah, roughly December 2016, around Christmas time, we formed the Richter dynasty. Uh, so it was like I'd say more around 2017. It was like more officially solidified and organized collectively.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, we've been around quite a while, and we changed our name, from Richter to Richterian, and even then we still are, thriving. More of
Yeah.
our Richters are named Richterian than they are Richter too, so we're growing at a very substantial rate, and we continue to. But I look at it as Game of Thrones because it's like with Game of Thrones, you have all these different houses, and it'll be interesting to see one day we'll have Copenhagens and Furigs and whoever else fighting at each other and trying to take over the genre.
Mm.
But it might actually do quite well as well.
Yeah,
Other
that'll
than
be
that,
definitely something to look forward to. I can't wait for all these. I mean, dynasties have kind of died, especially with the old gen leaders. They all hate dynasties except for the Karaviches, really. Lewis absolutely despises dynasties. But I feel like once they leave, I feel like it'll be prominent again to have a dynasty, and it'll actually kind of mean something to be a part of a dynasty once again. As of right now, though, I feel like the dynasty reputation's been a bit tarnished after the old leaders of the community, besides Lavo, kind of shit on it a bit. But yeah, honestly, I could see dynasties having a huge revival, and me, Copenhagen's, the shuttles having a huge influx of members.
yeah, I'm honestly very curious to see a war happen between all of our groups. A
Yeah,
full-scale war
obviously a
for
friendly
Europe.
war.
Yes.
I would say a friendly war. You don't want to get where toxic, where fucking nerfers come into your house, knock on your door, shit like that. Like
Yeah. Well, I heard that you, Joe, and the Copenhagen dude are gonna form like this alliance or something and try to take on the genre with like monarchist ideology.
yeah, we were definitely aiming for that, but things change, things mix up. I sold my group. Normandy, I think they're planning to do some stuff with because Wilhelm got back TGBE. I don't know what they're doing there. I'm not even sure what Freddie's doing at this point, man. He's kind of just there. He might do a new group. I have no clue. I don't really know too much about Freddie, but he's pretty chill from what I've seen.
Yeah, I'm not really sure either. But
Hmm.
if everyone did try to like form an alliance, it would be interesting to see, the national chauvinistic Octavian forces against like mainland Europe, pretty much.
Yeah, that'd be something to see.
Then you have Cab in the corner, like sucking on his thumbs, some random Norwegian empire just sitting there, while these
Yeah,
two empires are literally like creating World War III by the
unless
second.
unless his high command decides to do something about getting involved with the rest of the community, I really do not see Norsern becoming an active member in the community, and they'll probably just fade out of the image, but still retain activity like Canada 1940s.
Yeah, yeah. Canada and USM also kind of just sitting there, collecting
Yeah,
members and not doing much. But
them coming back would definitely do a resurgent activity in the genre. So, one can only hope, but
yeah, that's pretty much the state of the community, anyways. When it
yeah.
comes to it, the state of community at this point, it's like, how do I put this? I guess it was doing quite bad before I came back. I remember I'd log on, and I'm like, oh god, what is this? What is that? And
Very true.
and after I came back, it's like the community suddenly just started glowing. You know,
Yeah.
it came back because there was more competition, I suppose. I think the rise of the Richters in 2020 was like this big wake-up call that
Yeah.
we're
With
actually not good.
Korea.
Not just Korea. Oh yeah, Korea was a huge wake-up call. I think that
Mm.
do you remember back in December when I had like those 20 groups that I owned on my account?
I
And I like
remember
made that
that.
video and I'm just scrolling
Yeah.
through everything.
I remember that. Oh my
It
God.
was literally out of nowhere. You know, I made that speech in November and it was kind of dead. I had like 30, 40 people rallied and I'm like, we're going to take over everything, and nothing happened for a while. And then suddenly in like late December, all these groups give me ownership and I'm just like, I'm back!
I'm back, motherfuckers.
And, you know, obviously DDR shot off and we were rallying like 50 people and that was
Yeah.
pretty epic. And then it just, you know, got deleted.
Yeah. Oh my. That was
Lewis,
crazy. I did not expect that, honestly.
yeah, Lewis kicked off and I'm like, alright, let's join in. I'm like, we're disbanding the dynasty, we're dead. We're all gonna die.
I remember when you made that video. I was like, "What the hell is going on over there?"
Yeah. And then after GR came Japan, even in Japan, we still didn't really maintain our roots. After Japan, it's like, all right, boys, we're coming back for real this time. And it's like
Yeah.
everyone's like, nah, it's gonna be another failure. First day of launch, 140 players. Rally had like 80 people. Oh, and like for the next 2 months, like 80 people in game, like at least every day.
Yeah, it was.
Beautiful.
Everyone in the community was shocked by that activity. I remember that time. I believe I was in Norstrom as Realms Chancellor, and I was like, "Holy crap, Cab! Look at this!" And he's like, "Wow, Alec is doing good. You know, good
Yeah.
for him." It was a good time, honestly, especially for you guys. You guys fucking skyrocketed out of nowhere.
Yep, most definitely. You know, Korea was the big wake-up call that we can't really die. I mean, as I've said in my last speech, I did one on the VC. It was like, you know, as long as we maintain our faith, well, we will win, because this is a game of psychological warfare. It's all about believing in something and maintaining those beliefs. And so long as we can do that, we will prevail. Even if it means spending the dynasty, or getting deleted, or me getting hacked or scammed, or even confronted in real life. As long as we maintain our ideas, we cannot die, and we cannot lose. And henceforth, as the speech ends, we will eventually win. And so, I think that people have realized this. A lot of people have given up on trying to fight just because of this. And my next project is going to be even better than Korea. At least I hope it will, because we have so much funding, so much resources, so much manpower, and the aesthetics are going to be wonderful. It's a European project. I've done Europe in like since DDR, you know.
Yeah.
And so I think that it's going to be this like super clan for quite a while that's just going to dominate and change and shape the community. Of course, there's going to be Joe and the Copenhagens that are going to be like a roadblock. You know, they're going to try and fight me, and that's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
I haven't had a good war in a long time. Korea was like these little wars with these small Asian empires. Like, oh, you know, we're the little Chinese empire. We're going to crush you. It's like,
and you just destroy them at your raid map because they can't even rally like 10 people.
yeah. Well, what they did was when we destroyed them, they called in the Americans, and then the Americans got annihilated. So the Americans called in the Canadians, and the Canadians are like, oh, we've never lost a raid. We fought them. Very close call, but we won. And the Canadians are like, you know, we're leaving this war. And then the Australians fought us. And it was like major power after major power. We held our ground. And when they all were losing battles, they actually pulled out. And we basically just steamrolled into China until they eventually surrendered to us. And we took them in and stuff. Same thing with Japan. Japan, it was like they could only rally about 20 people, which was decent. And then we come in with like 60 people, and like, if you've seen the footage of the raid,
I have, yeah.
We just literally just go right in. It was like they were all in the trenches, just sitting there with rifles, and we're just charging and just annihilating all of them.
Yeah, bonsai charge, but on the damn Korean side, like, good lord.
Yep, Oh, those
It
were
was interesting to watch. It was very interesting to watch, especially that team deathmatch between Lavo's group, Lavo's Shock rather, and your Shock. That was
yeah.
actually very surprising how you guys won. I was not expecting that. And I saw the video that you made where you put Lavo as Hitler. That was fucking gold.
Yup. Yeah, I mean, Korea was definitely one of my best projects in comparison to Octavia, which is coming up this October. I think Octavia will be a lot better. Asia was a
Mhm.
fun change of everything. It was a fun time, but I think that my place is really in the more Europeanish part of the genre. Uh,
Yeah,
I mean, it just works better that way. It's kind of
Asia's kind
weird.
of dead, like you said. Asia's kind of
Yeah,
just dead, and there's not a lot of big groups in the Asian sphere, so you can't
yeah,
really do anything. You find like some 200 member China group, you hit up the owner. The owner doesn't respond for 5 days. That's how I imagine the Asian community must be with raids and all that stuff.
yeah. Um, the thing is about raiding in the Asia community was that you're exactly right. When we contacted the nationalist Chinese, it took them a week to respond, another week to coordinate, and the rest of the week was them like pussying out. They only had one raid with us, and we had to find a whole new empire. And it was like the other Chinese group, like I said, called in all the major powers.
Mm,
We also fought a independent Manchukuo. We fought a Soviet Union. We fought, a few other minor empires in Asia, and they're kind of just dead. Very small quantities of men in
mm.
comparison to like this strong 60, just large, massive empire, basically. So it was kind of overkill, but it
Yeah.
was quite fun anyway.
Mm. Wow. All
Yeah.
right.
Um, in regards to the future of the community, where do you think that where will we go? Do you think in regards to the future in the next like couple of years?
Honestly, I think Lewis, Lavo, Zophiel are going to pack up their shit and actually go out and do something with their lives. What? Lewis is like 23 now. Zophiel is already pretty much gone. And Lavo's like, I think this almost the same age as Lewis. So, I mean, it's inevitable. They're going to leave at some time. They've been here since 2008, 2011. They've been here for such a long time. It's got to get burned out somehow. And Lewis is trying to start up GAR for a third time, I've heard, which is like, come on, man. Really, I joined the first and second one just to see how things were rolling and how things were going, but the third one, I'm gonna keep my distance from that because, well, one, I have my own project I'm working on, and two, I don't think it would be worth my time or anyone's time to even give that a chance. So yeah, but I see you, me, Cab, Joe, Freddie, maybe some other people that rise up are going to be prominent group leaders, and maybe we can reform the community. Maybe we can make it less toxic. We could all have, like friendly battles. We can all do like things that have never been tried before because there hasn't been the technology back in the day. I feel like there's really a lot of things that we can expect and that we can hope for in the next like 4+ years in the future.
Yeah, I suppose I agree. I think that we're the future of the community, and
Yeah.
we could reshape it entirely.
Hmm.
Um, so what's your opinion on other group leaders like I don't know, Nerfer, Cab, Lavo, Lewis, Sofiel, uh, Copenhagen, so on and so forth.
Well, you see, Lewis's group, Lewis's HRAFN, I absolutely love. That was really the first group that I was in. But we'll kind of, we'll get to that later though. But I respected Lewis for a large majority of the time in the community, and now I kind of see that he is a bit. He burned himself out. He was a raging torch for years and years with his whole NSN and other shit like Ostrat stuff like that. But now it's time to. I hope he's thinking about putting the genre and moving on with his life for the better of himself. I don't personally hate Lewis. I still respect him a little bit. I want the man to get out there and actually do something. Besides playing a Lego game at the age of 22. So that's my take on Lewis. I'd say for Lavo, the same thing, honestly, for Lavo. I feel like he does better groups than Lewis at this point. More creative groups, kind of less toxic and better high command. But it's just he's just old. You know, he needs to go out there, get a life, get a wife, have settle down, have kids, do something. Not play a Lego game all day. Same thing with well, no, Zophiel is honestly getting out of this community. He's pretty much gone at this point. Cab, all I'm going to say about Cab is he has a 30K group. Congrats to him. He's making bank. Good for him. You, personally, you are definitely one of the top group leaders, and I can see you easily succeeding Lewis or Lavo in the future. And can't really think of any allied leaders off the top of my head. The Copenhausens, I feel like they're definitely going to grow in their dynasty size, and I feel like there will be a good dynasty rival or a good dynasty ally with the Richters or the Feurigs, depending on where that goes. And yeah. Oh yeah, and Joe. Joe's definitely going to do something good. I feel like he might, do something with Britain, or maybe do something with Normandy, maybe bring back Deutsches here. I doubt that though. But yeah, that's really my regards and all the group leaders.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people will do quite well, like yourself, maybe Joe, maybe Copenhagen. At the same time, it depends on their financial status.
Oh
If
yeah,
they're
very
able to
true.
accumulate funding, they will succeed. But
Yeah, funds are honestly everything nowadays. It's crazy how much, back in I heard back, well, I wasn't around back then, but I've been told stories of where there's been this one individual has no Robux at all. He starts a massive empire just because he created a good aesthetic. He actually put time and effort into his map, and he was a good interactive leader. And honestly, back then you could succeed just by being a good interactive leader with a good map, and maybe going on GRP a bit and recruiting here and there. But yeah, but nowadays it's you need funds, you need a lot of loyal members, you need a huge following to even think about making a big group. You need all this other stuff, and it's not like what it was back in the day.
yeah, most definitely. Back then, I could have easily created a group and had people join. Nowadays, you require a very large following of active members, and you require a shitload of funds.
Yeah,
I had the funnel
50K plus, at least 50K plus to run ads and stuff.
I mean, honestly, for me, I don't want to even. I have 200,000, and I'm like, is this still enough? Because it's still if I launch 100,000 and I make little back, or something goes wrong with the account, I don't even know. It's I want this to go well, and if I want a guaranteed success to get as far as I don't know, IRF tier activity, it requires a lot. So hopefully I can acquire a lot of Robux to do that, which I most likely will. But the cash grab that I'm making, I think that I will. But
that's good.
I am very ambitious to expand and establish my collective. So hopefully that goes well.
Yeah, I do have a lot of funds too. I have I think 80K at this point now. But yeah, I'm gonna be launching my group with 80K, doing 10K ad runs, all that stuff. And honestly, it's just you have to worry about so much different factors. Are you gonna make back your money? Oh God, am I gonna have enough money to launch ads next week? There's only about 10 people on my game during weekdays. I get most of my activity during ads, but is 3K Robux really enough to run ads by the time you've already depleted all of that? And I feel with Byzantium and how fast it kind of grew, I was a bit incompetent when it came to running it because I was just so new. I'd never really led a big group before, but now that I have the experience and I know what to do, and with all that stuff, I feel I can really, really make a good project if I just play my cards right. And I feel that's the same with anyone else watching. If you can make a big following, if you can have a good aesthetic, a good group, have good devs, have a good high command, then you can go places. Unless something changes in the future, which who knows? It's very unpredictable, very shaky, very wobbly.
Right. Yeah, it definitely is. I think with my following though, which grows every day, I think that we could last quite a long time.
Yeah, I feel the Victorians will do very well, honestly.
Yeah,
Same with like the shuttles and the Copenhagens. They have a very good chance just because of the size of their dynasty.
right. I think if Cab started a whole new group, I'd probably be a lot better off.
Mm,
Because Noricum, it's like not very appealing for a Germanic
yeah,
empire.
very true. I mean, he said his group was, I believe, Swiss or Norwegian, so he wouldn't get deleted when he first made the group. Because I was in his group, I was in his Volksland group before he made Norserm. That was, GAR. I mean, Volksland merged into GAR. Um, I was in that for a while. So honestly, I feel like Cab could really start a new group, start fresh, start with a new aesthetic. Because let's be honest, everyone knows his name in the community now. He could probably get amazing devs. He can get all this amazing stuff done, and he has a lot of potential to grow. But he's just still sticking with the same thing, which I think is kind of a waste. But that's really all I have to say about Cab and his group.
Yeah, same here, I suppose.
Mm.
Um, let's see. So aside from other leaders, what's the new project you're starting up?
The new project I'm starting up is the Imperial Tehran Federation. I'm sure you might have heard about it. I have like 80 members rallied to it right now, and it's going to launch in October. It's basically a movie group based off of Starship Troopers. Obviously, we're not going to be fighting aliens and stuff like that in the actual movie, but it's just going to be like a. I'm kind of trying to get the aesthetic of Udis without copying it directly. I'm trying to get that kind of torn, a little bit dystopian rather, so I can, I feel like that's really the Tehran image. It's like if you ever watch the movie, you'll kind of know it's a futuristic, militaristic, kind of, ultra nationalistic military like confederation. So that's kind of what I'm aiming for in the aesthetic. And we're going to be launching, I think, October 2nd or October 9th. I like to launch groups on a Friday so we can have a nice, clean, long ad run weekend so that we can maintain activity, stuff like that. So yeah, you can expect that to launch soon, hopefully. And when are you launching Octavia, by the way? You said October, but like, do you have like a specific date? Maybe like late October, mid October, something like that.
Early October, probably in the first or second week of October. We plan to have the group created by then.
Mm.
Launch-wise, I'd say about by the weekend of the first October week, probably. I don't really know. It
Mm.
depends on the cash grab because because if I'm going to launch a group, I need a source of money, and the group is not going to have a cash grab theme. It's going to have a serious theme, and that's not going to make as much profit as a cash grab would. So
Mm.
if I'm going to launch this group, I need the cash grab up and running, and it needs to be making me a profit. And if it's
Yeah.
not, I'm not going to launch group because I'm not going to launch 100,000 and make like 50,000 back, and it's like, what do we do at that point? And then it's
Yeah.
like I launch that 50,000 and make 10,000 back, and then I have the cash grab. It's like you got to be careful with that kind of thing. And
Yeah,
so,
cash grabs are a bit iffy. They either work or they don't work. There's really no in between, honestly.
yup, I agree with that.
Mm.
I think that mine will work though because we've done a lot of scripting. It's
A lot of
very
preparation.
Oh yeah, oh definitely. We've been spending 3 months on it, if not
Nice.
almost 4 months on it now. So it's like,
Mm.
the game Black Hawk Down.
Huh?
Black Hawk Down, Rescue the Game.
Isn't that like some sort of Roblox game or something? I think I've
Yes,
heard of it. Yeah, it's like that one rescue game with like
yes.
helicopters and stuff. Yeah, I've heard of that before.
So there's a new one, and the new one is basically the same thing except there's missions, and you get to like choose
Mm.
your gear and stuff, and then go out and like fight in those missions. Mine's gonna be very similar to World War II. You're gonna start at like a training camp. You're gonna have guns and gear and stuff. You can have a squad of at least 12 people, and you can choose missions to fight. So you can go to like Normandy, you can go to Market Garden, or any Remagen, any of these missions. Or you can randomize it, and you basically just fight the enemy and win objectives and stuff with your
Mm.
friends. Very simple concept. I think it will go really well.
So
Our
sort of like
estimates,
Heroes and Generals, if you ever heard of that game.
yeah, we estimate that it could make at the most like millions if we try good enough on it. So
Yeah, if
hopefully,
if it ends up like Tony Gross's D-Day, you could really make bank there.
Oh
and
yeah, definitely.
supply your group with all those funds.
Yeah, I could
Yeah.
supply. I could do anything really at that point. If I'm
Yeah.
making millions, I could launch ads every day, fund people for name changes, like everyone for name changes. Hell, I
Yeah.
could fund everyone for like full scale uniform. I could have everyone wearing helmets and going into battle just like that. You know,
That'd be definitely something to say. That'd be very cool.
I could pay
Yeah, I feel like
debts.
honestly, it's a good dream to have if you're a dynasty leader to have enough Robux to just fund a shit ton of your members for name changes. I'm sure some of them will take the money and run, but those are really the unloyal ones. And if you have enough money to fund all your members, you probably 1,000 won't be that much of a loss anyways.
Yeah,
So I feel like that's a lot of the goals for dynasty members as a whole. And with the whole group thing, running ads every day, I mean, yeah, you can get as big as Viking Law, but you can actually not be a cancer group like his. You could actually be like a good functioning group that does trainings and events and rallies instead of just buying ranks and shit like that.
yeah, I most definitely agree with that statement. I'm in Viking Law's group, and it's just like a freaking shithole. You can't do anything there. I rose up to the high rank very quickly, considering my skill, and it's full of brain dead children.
Ugh.
Very unique concept of doing shit. Because I'm in the I'm not in the army or the police force. Where I'm in the Communist Party. What
They
they
have a
do?
police force?
Yes.
Oh God, is it like actual like blue uniform police?
Yes.
The hell do they do?
They guard the bank apparently.
The bank? Oh my
Yeah.
God. Oh my
That's
God.
their
A
entire
fucking
purpose.
bank. Jesus Christ.
More like a bank security. It's like
Oh my God,
the
bro.
state bank has a state security for the bank called the Militasia. But I'm in the Communist Party, and we actually sit down and they train us how to make bills. And they're like, yeah, so we want to improve recruitment for the Communist Party. How do we do that? And we have to make up ideas. And like every time, I'm the one taking charge and stuff and trying to. And then we have patrols, and our patrols are weird because all we do is we run around the entire map shouting, "Long live Viking Law, glory to the Premier," and communism is my favorite ideology. It's like, what the frick? What is this?
There's more to do with the party than just run around screaming glory to X whoever leads the group, and
Yeah.
X ideology is my favorite,
Yeah. It's kind of weird at the same
Jeez.
time. I don't understand. And their recruitment is like running around saying, join the Soviet Union. When I was doing recruitment, I'm like, okay, this is easy. I went up to each civilian asking them, and like half of them said yeah, and my comrade was like, hey dude, what are you doing? That's not how you recruit people. I'm like, hey retard, do you know how to recruit people? You go up to them and you socialize with them. And he's like, no,
Exactly.
you go around the map and shout, join the Soviet Union, join the Communist Party. I'm like,
Oh my God.
oh,
Spastics, man, I swear. I remember back in HRFN, I used to just sit at the recruitment desk for hours. I'd have one of my men go out, like I was at the secretary desk. I'd have one of my order members go out, and I'd have them bring in civilians, and then I'd have the four recruitees behind me, and I'd say, "All right, go to the back and sit down at one of the desks," and then they'd just be recruited. We all be in a VC communicating with each other. It was so organized. It literally the Realms leader, Audwin, had like a document of everyone who was ever recruited into the army, because that's how efficient and it was run. Which honestly, I want to recreate that, but like groups like Viking Law can kind of easily do that stuff. Like I'm sure he has competent members in those 600,000 groups. I'm sure he has a lot of people that would be willing to do that for him. So, but he's
I've
just
spoken with them. I spoke with their staff, and I asked them why they're not involved in any community. They said that they don't care about the community that much, and that they're isolationists because they want to work on their own group. They're a Soviet Union first kind of thing. They kind of don't really want to. They don't have a reason or a need to associate with their groups. I'm like, well, it's kind of boring.
isolationist.
Yeah.
Could be so much more fun if they. Yeah.
And,
I remember when IRF got involved with the community. That was so much fun.
Yes.
I remember raiding them. It was amazing. If only like groups like Viking Law could do that and have their elite division raid, it would just bring so much more activity. But nope. They only care about making Robux, getting that DevX, whatever it's called, payout, and hiking, taking a hike, going wherever. They don't really care.
Yeah.
They get on every morning, run ads, and fuck the group.
Yeah.
Good lord.
Sadly, that is the system of TSU. I try to
Yeah.
take over because I have like my own little loyalists in that group as this high rank role, and it's like,
Oh, damn.
yeah, well, when someone like me goes into a group, I'm not really surprised. I mean, when I left when I left the Rhine, a couple guys came with me. I think about a dozen people came with me. So I'm not
First or
really
second run?
the last one.
Oh, the most recent one. Oh, okay.
Yes, when I got exiled from the Land Guard, like a dozen of their members left with me. Like, I know DJ, Eris, Slash
Wow.
Dude,
Nice.
and a few others. Can't remember top of their name, top of my head, but I know that there's quite a few. But yeah, some of them were even like USU members too.
Oh, wow, yeah. The USU has always been kind of intimidating until recently, I feel like.
Oh, I have something better. It's called the Eye, and they are like Inquisition. And basically, it's going to be sweet. They're going to have alt accounts, and that's how they're going to log on. No one's going to know who they are, or what they're doing, or anything. They're going to be disguised as army men in the main group with their army job, and they're going to like, yeah, it's going to be.
That's
sweet.
A good idea. That's a very good idea.
Actually, uniforms are going to be creepy. What's going to happen is when someone commits a crime. So my personal residence is going to be underground in like a bunker. The bunker is going to be pitch black dark, and the Inquisition are going to have a uniform where their like eyes are like glowing in the dark.
Oh,
so
they're going to like drag them down to the bunker to the jail.
Yeah.
Man. Oh, that's some like Wolfenstein shit. That's creepy, man. That's a good idea, honestly. The way I have it set up is like my Ministry of Enlightenment, which is basically like the intel. It's kind of going to be like the same thing, like a futuristic vibe, except they're just going to be, just patrolling around the streets. They're going to have like a set path to go around. They'll just like write reports using Trello. I've decided to use Trello for some reason, but I feel like that's most efficient for writing reports. They'll like write reports, they'll log all that shit, and we'll have literally every single person that's ever been written up before or gotten into trouble in a huge logbook. So that's how I kind of want to organize my group. But yeah, I like the whole like red eyes dragging under to a dark prison cell, like screaming frantically for help. Like, oh, that's just cool.
Yeah, the aesthetic for it is going to be quite nice. It's going to be based off of the National of Spain and the Phalangists, and they're not very popular. I think that Franco is underrated, to be honest. I've never seen the Spanish Empire, and I think that their aesthetic is very nice. They had very nice aesthetics, but no one has done it before. So I'm very excited to have those put into action and put on our members. So that's my new project that I'm doing.
Eternal. Well, that sounds very interesting.
Oh yes, Eternal Octavia will be the name.
Eternal Octavia.
That is correct.
We'll be launching it like the same time, probably. Honestly, you said early October. I'm going to be launching early October. That'll definitely be something nice to see. I'd like to see your map. All that good stuff. That sounds something that looks like I can definitely look forward to. Maybe have some friendly raids here and there. Stuff like that. Yeah,
we'll see. We're going to be very serious this time as compared to my past groups.
Oh yeah, definitely. With Byzantium, I couldn't take the autism. That's why I actually made a law in my law book that how people have to say like C7RN to like do certain stuff at like cafe games or whatever to prove they're not underage. I'm gonna make sure that my party like actually uses that. I don't want anyone under the age of 13 to be in my groups. So I want it to be, a completely serious, authentic roleplay experience. I don't want any speds interrupting it. I don't want any of that going on,
Yeah. Most definitely.
Mm-hmm.
But carrying on, since, a lot of potential, a lot of good things. What about the past groups? Besides Byzantium?
That I've been in?
Yeah,
besides Byzantium. So the first group that I was ever in was Lavo's first Rhine back in 2018. Lavos group. Yes. Yeah, but that was the first group that I was ever in. I joined 2 weeks before it merged into HRAFN, and I was kind of inactive the first week, but then I started picking back up. I got to Lance Corporal, I believe, before I went to HRAFN. I remember joining HRAFN when I had like 50 members, like, looking at the behemoth that it is today, which is, it's kind of cool to be like one of the first 50. But yeah, with HRAFN and how Lava merged it with Lewis's group, like I didn't even know what was going on. So I kind of like ascended through the ranks really fast because it was kind of all disorganized in the beginning. I got to Sergeant Major. Lava hosted this rally, and then he like took the first 4 people standing in the front of the line, like of the STS, which I was actually in the front of the line. We went up to his office, and he promoted me to colonel. But the thing is, next day I come back, I'm only a captain, which, I'm like, okay, that's fine. So then I get demoted by Erlen Blitz because I was like doing /E dance to some radio music on the boombox that I wasn't even playing. And then I got to thank Lewis for this also. The whole reason why I didn't leave the community right then and there is because Lewis offered me a rank transfer to the order. And then I met like the first inner circle that I've ever been in. It was me, Joe, Audwin, Alex, Valcoin and Leona. I don't know if you know him. And then I think some other people, but those were the prominent 5. After that, we just kind of left HRFN when it merged with Lavo's new group or whatever. And I've just kind of been riding the flow of groups. I went to my first allied group I ever went to after that, which was, I believe, John Gadsden's United.
UNAR.
Yeah, UNAR. I forgot what it was called for a second there. And then I went to your group, actually. I remember I came to your game, and you were like, I promise you a rank of major. And I was like, okay, I'll join. And then from there, I got exiled from your group. I guess we'll get into that later, though, because that's another point. But then, I just kind of rode the waves, joined DH, joined all these other groups, joined TRI, I already said that. Kern Mage Realm, that was definitely one of my favorites. GTR, that was definitely also one of my favorites. GAR wasn't, that good. It was pretty bad the first time, and the time was even worse. Good lord. And Nordstrom Realm a couple times, and here we are today. I skipped over a lot of stuff, obviously, because my list goes on and on, but that's really the groups that I'm most proud of being in.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to go on a list of mine, but I have been through. I've led, I've followed, I've done both, I've done oligarchy, I've done everything really, and I feel most comfortable. Honestly, people might be surprised, but when I'm doing an oligarchy, oligarchy is the most dangerous, but the most comfortable, because usually when you're a leader, everything goes to you directly.
Yeah.
Nothing else but you. You have full responsibility. And in oligarchy, there's another person that responsibility goes to. So the responsibility is split in half. And it really makes it easier because in Korea, Alex was in charge of the financial stuff. He was in charge of the political stuff. I was in charge of the raids, the military stuff, and the structure. And it made my life very easy. Especially because I could, I learned a lot of new things, and I couldn't get removed. I could do what I wanted. I couldn't get removed, and it was, it worked out really well.
Yeah.
It was the most comfortable I've ever been whilst in a group. I could log on, and I didn't have to do anything. I could just sit there and be idle for an entire day, and the group ran on its own, because if I wasn't doing anything, Alex was doing something. When Alex wasn't doing something, I was doing something. And Alex actually went on vacation. I think he went to England on vacation for 2 weeks while we were doing that Korea, and it worked out great. I mean, I loved being in charge of everything, and having access.
I can relate to that, definitely.
So, the only flaw with that is the fact that the trust, which is why for my next project, actually, Alex will be the same rank as me, but he won't have geo access. But we will both be leading the group as the Supreme Leaders. I will be Supreme Marshal. He will be the Supreme Chancellor.
That'll be definitely something interesting to see. That's sort of kind of like a split combined power, I guess. He leads the party / government, I guess, then.
Yeah, he'll be leading the government, which is a much more smaller role than the party, because he has a smaller following, so he'll have a less... I will be the one mostly doing all this shit. He will kind of be more bureaucratic, more making background decisions and focusing on the eye and, maintaining stability. He'll be maintaining the stability and making sure shit's running fine. I'll be the one actually out there making, decisions in front of everyone. Like right now, Alex has been preparing the map for me and Devin. Well, not for me, but for us. He's gonna be listening as if for you, this is our project, not your project. He's gonna be pissed off. he's working on the map. I'm doing stuff too. I'm working on the uniforms, the GFX. I'm paying for shit. I'm doing a lot of work. But Alex is like setting templates up. Like we're discussing ideas, come with names. He's getting people prepared for the group, shit like that. So it's working out great. And if he ever, there's no reason to be afraid because, he doesn't have geo access. So the worst he can do is like, I guess, demote everyone.
Yeah, like AA, which isn't even really that bad because you can just fix it. I've never really got the idea of why Lewis and Lavo gave people the geo access account of the people that they trusted. I mean, they've been with them for years, obviously, and I'm sure they can trust them, and they give them multiple geo accounts. But it's just, I don't know. It's a bit sketch how Lewis just kind of hands around his geo access to his supreme command.
Very risky. I've done it before when I was doing the, when I owned 20 groups. I can't do all 20 groups.
Yeah,
Do you
definitely.
want to know how bad it was? Christmas Eve, I was driving to our family's house, like an hour away. I look at my phone, and I see over 100, not 100 pings. I literally counted through over 100. There were so many DMs that not all of them even showed up. Like, they literally yeah. I'm like, okay. First thing I did when I got home was literally say, okay, listen here. All of you guys have access to the geo account. It was like 8 different guys, and I'm like, you all will take care of this, 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 and this.
Yeah. It's just too much to handle,
I was spending every single day making sure that groups had aesthetics, making sure they had funding. What I did was basically communism. I redistributed, so they all made me money, and I redistributed all the funds to the groups equally.
Oh my god.
It kind of worked. It kind of worked for a while, but it was just ultra stressful, having to constantly micromanage and shit and make sure things were going well. So eventually I was like done. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna merge everyone into DDR and let's call it a day. That's exactly what happened.
That's definitely the easiest option.
Oh, it was. I was like, oh my god, the stress is gone.
That's a weight taken off my shoulder. Like, Jesus Christ.
Oh, it was more work having to annex all 20 of those groups because they all had divisions, and it was like...
Oh, dude. How did you even have space for that? Isn't like max 100, groups per Roblox account? You must have like left everything, or even if you had anything joined on that account.
Yeah, what I did was I had Vianney, one of my inner circle members, basically do half. He did like 30 groups, and I did like 20 groups, and some of the groups didn't really even have many divisions. It was like they had like the army and that was it. So it wasn't that bad. It was just having to constantly go to each and every group, change the logo, change description, change this, demote everyone, make sure this.
Oh god.
It was like, because of, because if one of the guys see that the group got annexed and the guy has like dev perms, he's gonna like put swastikas in all the maps and get the geo account that has like 80 groups owned deleted. So in the end it paid off well because I was able to sell a shitload of those groups for money that I used in Japan and in Korea to fund everything. So
nice.
Yeah. But anyways, let's bring up TRI now.
Alright. Here comes the long-awaited TRI discussion.
Yeah. So during TRI, I mean, I guess tell your story, I suppose.
Well, I remember I joined TRI when I think it was December, like early December of 2018. At that time, I was in UNAR. I joined your game. I think you were there talking to me. You promised me major if I joined, so I joined, and it just kind of went on from there. I was offline Pi back then. And then that was the first name changes I had. I changed my name to Heinz Richter. I don't know where I don't even remember why I picked Heinz. I just goes like, oh, funny German name, lol. But yeah, from there I was just kind of patrolling. And then I remember when winter break specifically, when winter break came around, I was on your game like every day. I was patrolling. I was doing all this stuff. Obviously not like, during the holidays like Eve and Christmas Day and the day after, stuff like that. But I was pretty active during the early Christmas break, late Christmas break, like days. And from there, I remember Atticus and you, I think that you guys dragged me into VC, and I believe you promoted me to Field Marshal. And I was like, wow, okay, I was not expecting this.
Yeah.
So became a field marshal, and I remember the reason that I got exiled, I think, if correct me on this if I'm wrong, but was because I did like at everyone in the Discord, or I did like an M announcement in game saying,
Ugh.
"Come to like a rally, like come to this rally if you want to play Hoi 4 or something like that." And then you got like super pissed off at me, and then we were going off at each other in DMs. And I was like, you know what? Fuck you. I'll make my own dynasty. I'll make my own group, and that's how the Feurigs were born.
Yeah. Well, yeah, what happened was I could tell that your morale was like bottom low after Atticus, because I remember you and Ezra hated the fact that I got rid of Atticus, and I'm like, retards, the guy killed the group. Like, what am I supposed to do? He promised me that I would have an active group freaking New Year's Day, okay? And then when I ask him, hey, where's my active group? It's New Year's Day, retard. I'm sleeping today. It's a holiday. Okay, what the
Oh my
frick?
God.
Who goes on I don't know anyone that goes on New Year's Day and, like, has a party or some shit.
Yeah.
It's like, what a terrible excuse. I'm like, alright, well, listen here, faggot. You told me that this group would be active today, and it's not. So either you get off your ass and fix it.
Or you're exiled.
Yeah.
Exiled from the kingdom.
Well, actually, when
Oh
I had
my
to even
God.
offer him exile, he said, well, if you're going to be an asshole, I might as well just leave then. Or something
Oh.
like that. And, or resign. He said, I might as well resign. And, well, that's exactly what he did. And I'm like, I'm just going to exile you because this is ridiculous. So I did.
Mm-hmm.
Beans took over. He was on vacation at the time.
I'm a Beans. I remember him. Is he
was
still with you?
Oh God, no. He we did an oligarchy during Japan, and I don't know if you remember, but basically my main group role got reduced to like, what was it called? Chief Constable or something like that. And basically he said, oh, this is temporary because you want to lead the police. And I'm like, yeah, sure. I mean, I had UX and everything. We had a plan that I would lead the group with him, but I'd be like the main leader of it too. But when I wanted my rank back, he didn't give it back. He said, no, I'll make you this, but you're not becoming premier. And I was pissed. So I formed my own party called WARAC, which stood for the Workers' Reactionary Movement, or something like that. Basically, it was like, it was kind of like WPK, Workers' Party of Korea, except it was reactionary and not revolutionary. We wanted to return to the days of the Japanese Empire, and we also wanted to fix the economy, because basically what happened was they made factories that made the rich get richer. There are factories reserved for really, really rich people, and those factories made a shitload more money than regular factories. And so I ran on how the workers were neglected, and that we should return to the glorious days, and that the current democratic system is flawed, blah, 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 and it worked out really well. And so one day, I told Beans, like, hey, I have like 80 people that need to get registered into the government. What do? He said, oh, come back, tomorrow at 12 o'clock. Why the hell at 12 o'clock at night? I have no effing idea. But I'm like, okay. So me and like 30 other WARAC members were there at 12 o'clock. He didn't show up. We waited an hour, still not there. 2 hours, still not there. 3 hours, still not there. Eventually it was 3 a.m. and I'm just like, screw it. I'm done with his shit. I'm overthrowing him. So we basically overthrew anyone that was there that was working for him. We basically killed. The constables tried to arrest us. I said, if you're loyal to me, you will do as I say. And they said, oh shit, yes, Supreme Leader. And they quickly fell in line. And then I rallied everyone. And I completely forgot about this at the time, but we actually had an emperor that like never came online except for that day. And it was a very symbolic role because he had a lot of power, but he wasn't like one of the group owners. So it was a really weird situation. And it was Ethan. Ethan was a long-term loyalist of mine. I'm like, oh, it's the emperor. I'm like, Teniga Banzai, it's the emperor, salute, salute. And he was like, I agree, this is unfair. We should talk to Beans. We should make it so you both have, a leading role, blah, 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 blah. Well, after this entire coup goes successfully and the Emperor's like commending me, suddenly Beans is online. Suddenly at like 4, actually it was 5 in the morning, Beans logs on and joins the game. and is like, oh, let's discuss this. And we go into the building with like, we also had another party there called like they're like a populist party actually, and they were like our allies. They also were there because they're all a bunch of Turks, and they were online at this time at this ungodly hour. And so they arrived too. We had these reinforcements. We just surrounded him, and he's like, okay, well, I guess you're right. Let's share ownership, and let's do this. And then suddenly he DM'd me saying, I can't do this anymore. I'm going to resign. You betrayed me. The group is yours. Do whatever you want. I'm like, Beans, I can't do this. I want to run the group with you. I don't want to be an asshole or a dick. I just want equal power to you. That statement that he made was actually a distraction, because while I was apologizing and telling him, and explaining how I wasn't going to do that, he actually changed the password to the Geo account, changed the email and everything else to go to the group. Yeah.
Scum move.
And
Damn.
Then after I made that huge paragraph, he's like, okay, change of plans. You're exiled, your party's disbanded, and I'm the leader now. Let's just say that like the group died like the next day, and like everyone left him except like 5 people that weren't really loyal to me. So that's how Korea actually got formed. It was called the Long March. We actually made a vignette, and it was a vignette of all the Warwick members marching in like the cold winter to Korea to form our own independent state. And so we had like this legacy. I wasn't just some guy who created a group. I'm this leader that that we were abused during the times of Japan by the capitalist worker, and they changed the prices. And now with our own Korean state, we shall establish glory and bring glory back to our people. And everyone just was like, yeah, let's do this. And we invaded Japan and kicked his ass right afterwards. We have a video of it. We actually went to his city. We had admin still from when we were still in his group, and we torched the city with beetles and marched around with Korean uniforms and torched the entire city unanchored it. Oh, it was satisfying. It was such a satisfying moment. Oh yeah, there was a raid during it too. They had like 6 guys online, and we just spawn killed them till they left. And then we, of course, afterwards we torched the city and marched around whilst we were doing so, and declared Japan to be annexed under our Korean regime. So, and this is what I mean when I say like groups should be more serious and have more roleplay elements. Shit like this never happens anymore. Now it's like when you have a raid, it's like a Call of Duty World War deathmatch. Nothing really unique happens. When we were raiding Japan, actually, their raid system was very different. To win, you had to blow up a bridge. It was like,
that's interesting.
So I really wish the community was more like this, but of course people just tend to be lazy. They tend to be more about, this is just a Lego game. We can't take it seriously because
I've heard that so many times, honestly.
It's like,
it's getting a bit tiring of a phrase.
Yeah, it's like, shut up, please. Says the person that sent pizzas to my house in real life because I somehow destroyed your group. Like, frick me, you have to Lego game my asshole. So
oh man.
Anyways, wow, that went, I don't even know how we got here. It just went from one thing to another.
I think it was from Beans talking about him.
Yeah, Beans. Wow. Holy shit. We went off.
That sidetracked pretty damn far.
Alright, back on topic. That was Beans. He got exiled. So when Beans took over, I remember you became the field marshal or whatever. And I don't know. You were like acting extremely demoralized, and I was like depressed by it. I'm like, man, Heinz is like rock zero when it comes to morale and faith. And so when he did the Hoi 4 thing, and when I asked to why, or when I was pissed off, and when I saw your reaction, I'm like, oh yeah, he's done. Like, it was like the scene from Star Wars Episode 3 with Anakin. The moment Obi-Wan steps foot, Anakin's giving him that look, and Obi-Wan's like, oh yeah, he's done. We've lost him at that point. That was me and you. I'm standing there in the high ground, and you're just like ready to like, fist brawl.
Do that weird side flip thing where Obi-Wan cuts off his arm or whatever.
Yeah, that was basically what happened with the debate. And so, people, back in the day, this was more common. nowadays it's a lot more rare, and I don't know. I don't know why people tend to do these sorts of things. I don't really care anymore though because it doesn't happen as much as it used to.
Yeah. But yeah,
Uh,
definitely that was a learning experience for me. I decided not to host a rally just to announce that a Hoi 4 game was going to be hosted.
yeah,
So
I don't
yeah,
know
that was
what
definitely a
was.
lesson learned on my part. I don't even blame you for exiling me, to be honest, back then.
Yeah, well, what was I supposed to do? I mean, the only active field marshal in the entire armed forces spends, you know, the days of our group almost literally dying hosting a Hoi 4 game. Like I was already pissed off at Atticus, and the last thing I want to see is someone utilizing the group for hosting a Hoi 4
Game
game.
nights.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't have
Good
minded a
lord.
game night. It was just a fact how autistically it was done. Like, you lined everyone up and was like, okay, who has Hoi 4? And, like, the entire line was like, none of us have Hoi 4. And you're all pissed off, like, why does no one have Hoi 4? I want to play Hoi 4. And they're all like, dude, like, we don't have. I think you banned someone for saying they didn't have Hoi 4 or something like that. You were
Oh
like,
god, I
okay,
don't even remember.
someone got banned for, like, I don't know if they criticized you or what they did, but you were just extremely pissed off. So it's funny looking back. At the same time, it's
Yeah.
like if it wasn't for
I was much
beings,
more sped back then,
yeah.
let's be honest.
Um,
Especially with the whole Feurig like ritual thing. I think you were there and saw that happen, or like the girl that you were talking about earlier had like a video of it. I'm pretty sure
yeah,
on YouTube. So
yep.
I was like, you know. But now now we're not sped retarded. At least some of my members aren't sped retarded. But yeah, I've definitely learned. I've learned over the years. I've learned how to not be a edgy fucking uber retard that just does blood rituals all day. Like, no, that's not how you lead a group. That's not how you lead a dynasty. I mean, you look at. I mean, would you say like someone Vactus does that shit?
Yes, he has blood ulcers IRL.
Oh God, that's
Apparently, I'm
point.
not sure if it's true, but I've heard from past members and stuff that there's pictures really. There's pictures of people with, like, a knife, blood on a napkin,
Oh my
and
God.
like, or no. There's like this pledge, like this paper pledge, and like at the bottom of the pledge you see this in red letters, like a
Oh my
signature of someone's
God.
name, and it's like,
Jesus.
uh-oh.
Uh-oh, not good. Back
Yeah,
away from that shit as much as you can. Jesus Christ.
you
Yeah,
know,
I
in
never
the
went as
end
far
it
to do
could,
that stuff IRL.
in the end it could be like ketchup or something, but like I said, I don't really know. I can't really judge because people judge me and no one really knows the full story. So at the same time, Bactus does have a very, very devoted following because, I mean, he has like 500 members, and every day, like 100 people log on. It's like a job for them. They have
Yeah.
no lives, and all they do is play the Octavia. Like, that's
good
a
Lord.
whole new level of devotion.
Cringe.
Yeah,
Just pure cringe.
yeah. I don't know
That's the
what to
point
say.
where that's the point where the phrase "it's a Lego game" actually can be used
Yes,
validly. Like, good
yes.
Lord.
Yeah, looking at them. It's like the, you know, the meme where the person or the boy is playing a game and he's like shitting his pants and his mom is yelling at him. It's like, you know, you're shitting your. It's like Bactus. Like, Bactus, you're literally shitting out of your asshole. You know, go to the bathroom.
Not yet, Mom. Not yet.
Not yet. I still
Oh
gotta
my
win.
God.
I still gotta win against the, you know, the
I can
worst.
smell you shitting.
Yeah, shitting literal Lego bricks. So, anyways, yeah. So my last and final question for you is your opinion on the Richters and my community in general.
Well, obviously, as I've already said before, you guys are definitely. I expect you guys to go far with the Richtarians and Eternal Octavia. I expect you guys to have a couple thousand members, maybe even reach 10,000 members. I think anything is really possible with you guys. You guys have a lot of, from what I've seen at the rallies and at your games, you actually have quite a lot of competent members. You can rally a shit ton of people, and I'm sure all of them have, will rather have spots in the high command to, get shit done, get shit
You're gonna
organized.
love this. Our members have been patrolling the meeting game and we're getting like 30 people online, and I'm not even like announcing it or anything. It's like our members literally just log on, and my officers will. We don't even have a hierarchy. It's a bloodline group, you know. People just
Yeah.
log on, and random like loyalists just announce like, hey, you know, let's log on, and like, well, the Rhine is launching 10,000 ads and getting 30 people online. We're not even announcing, or barely announcing events. We're
Not
getting,
even
like,
announcing events in
35.
Discord. Good lord.
That's how dedicated my following has proven to be, and I am very proud of them. I've had a extremely good week, past couple of weeks, I should say, despite all the shit going on in real life with COVID and the lockdown.
Yeah,
You know,
for sure. Oh
it's
god.
been extremely good, and I am very thankful for my collective and following.
Well, that's nice.
You know, what else? What else do you think about that?
I think you guys definitely. Well, obviously, you guys have a lot of potential. You guys have a lot of potential to become like the shuttles, except a lot less sped. I'm gonna say a lot less sped because there, when it comes to big groups, there's bound to be a couple of, especially a big dynasty group where you have a dynasty connected to that group. There's bound to be some speds in there. And I'll admit it myself. I've had a lot of sped Feurigs back in the past, and I kind of regret either funding those people or letting them in. But yeah, I could see you guys easily succeeding, and keeping this group and the stars being the limit for you guys. As long as you have the funding, as long as you have active members, as long as you have a good map and aesthetic, you guys will almost definitely do good. There's like very little stuff that can actually stop you at this point. It's the train's already rolling. You can't stop it.
Yup.
And I feel like for my journey, the train's just started for me, and I feel like I have good potential, especially with Byzantium. I feel like that was definitely a big boost in relevancy for me and like people knowing me, because like I've just joined random World War II games. People will like teleport me and be like, "Oh, hi Heinz." I'll be like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" And that's honestly super cool. That I've never expected to reach this. Never expected to own a 3,000 fucking member group. I was like, holy shit, we got 3,000 members in 2 months, which is like Lewis big. That's like Lewis Lava big, UDIS, HRFN.
Yeah, is quite big. And I guess it's good to have you as one of our few leaders in the community. It's good to see that you've grown up, from the
Definitely. Oh god,
the angry field marshal into this very competent owner, especially through all the harassment that you've received, especially from other families and whatnot. So, I'm honestly excited. I'm excited for what's to come. I can imagine all of our groups acquiring a lot of funding and then, spamming the ad system and reaching 10,000 members and just,
going at it with each other.
Having our armies
rewards.
Yeah, the potential. I feel like we should have like an actual group for organizing raids at, and they're like,
oh, that'd be so cool. Imagine having like multiple raid maps. Each has like different terrain, stuff like that. Like there'd be a swamp raid map, maybe even naval battles, air force battles. It can really be like War Thunder. Like that's what I've always been thinking. If everyone can just communicate well, the World War II community would be so much better. People like Nerfer and Lewis and Lava really need to get over their disputes, come together to just make the community better, make a fucking 5 raid maps with different terrain and stuff like that. Just go there and have friendly raids. Stop being toxic, but sadly it's just not that easy. But I feel like the future can definitely hold good stuff for this community, especially with you, Joe, the Copenhausens, Cad, all that stuff.
Right. So, well, it's interesting, like I said before, because they have this monarchy being formed. It's almost like a collision. Like, I'm Napoleon Bonaparte, and I don't know if you studied Napoleonic history, but it's like I'm Napoleon, and Wilhelm is like the Duke of Wellington, and the Copenhausen dude is like, or Freddy, I think his name is Freddy, is like Tsar. Was it Nicholas? Not Nicholas.
Yeah.
Whatever his name was. I think it was Alexander, Tsar Nicholas of Russia, and they're like forming the coalition against me. I'm like the French, and it's like I'm currently expanding my horizons to like Italy and Austria and Spain,
Hmm.
and they're all preparing their coalition against me. That'd be interesting, though. If there was,
Yeah, definitely.
if I had to fight against, the Russians, like a three-front war against the Brits, the Germans, and the Russians, against my Western, Richterist horde of quantities and qualities of troops.
Hmm.
I wouldn't mind fighting that, as long as it
Yeah.
remained untoxic, which I'm sure.
Oh yeah. At that point where it gets toxic, I just pull out instantly and either just become isolationist or move on to another group to raid and have friendly, communications with. Toxicity is like, I hate that shit. That shit's been plaguing this community for so long, and this community could go so much places if there just wasn't toxic ass people in it. Not gonna
Right.
name names, Not gonna name names.
Yeah, most definitely. So yeah, well that's pretty much it, I suppose.
All
Good
right.
podcast, a lot of good topics. All these podcasts have been quite well recently.
Mm.
They get the word out, they reveal who we are as people, and it spreads information, I suppose. So,
Yeah.
I'm happy to see that people like them and like to watch and listen to them. I've been posting
Oh
a
yeah,
lot
even
of
I
them.
love them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you posted like 2 or 3 recently, and they're very nice, very good quality. I like just sitting back, relaxing, and listening to a podcast while playing like Heroes and Generals or CS:GO, something like that.
Yeah.
Just chilling.
I remember back in the day when WW2 would do these podcasts.
Oh yeah, our World War II community podcast. That channel is fucked now. It's dead. It's dead in the dirt, man. I wish.
Yeah.
Didn't they do a podcast with like Lewis and Nerfer and stuff like
Yeah,
that?
they did a Lewis one, a Nerfer one, and a few other ones.
Hmm.
Nerfer did one with me, and that's when he did the famous the bad Nerfer dude.
Oh.
That's when he made that speech. Was
Really?
in that podcast with me. I was the
Jesus
one
Christ.
with the big brother is always watching profile picture.
The
And,
bad Nerfer dude, the evil allied Jewish communist.
it's great. I wasn't even like trying to do anything. He was just like DMing me. He's like, "Hey, can we do a podcast about my group that got deleted?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, of course, why not?" And I was barely ready. Like, here's the question. Here's what we're gonna do. I'm like, "Yeah, of course." And he was just going off. I'm sitting there listening. I'm like, "Yeah, that's really good." Oh yeah, sweet. And then all of a sudden he does that speech, and I'm sitting there like, "Huh." I had no idea what was gonna happen after that. I had no idea it was gonna become a meme. But I remember after that, I was like, yeah, I definitely agree. There's so much controversy and stuff. I don't know. I didn't know how to react. Being my 15-year-old self, did not know.
Nerfer dude's a weird guy. He came to my game, Training Base Kabbalah, the old one, when I launched Byzantium, and he's like, "Oh, you should join the Allied cause. You basically made a group out of nothing. You basically had no following, and I've been keeping tabs with you, Heinz, for quite some time now." I'm like, "You have? Really?" I'm interested to hear about this, Nerfer, because I wanted to say so bad. You want me to merge my active group into your not even launched group yet? Like, really? Like, what do you expect me to say? Like, yeah, I'm gonna join your group. Is he really that like stuck in his own world? Is it really that bad? I've heard some tales about Nerfer. I'm not too sure all of them are true, but is he really that caught up in himself?
He ambushed me the other month. 2 months ago, he ambushed me.
Really?
Oh yeah, I'll tell you what happened. So you know who the guy that owned GTR after Lewis, Eric Kornman.
Eric, yeah.
Yeah. So he owned a Soviet Union that was allied to Nerfer's group, and so he kept.
Wait, is that Kaiser Eric? Am I
Like-
thinking of the right Kaiser Eric? Is that him?
Thinking of the Eric that has the monocle, the blonde hair in the game.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know which one you're
Okay.
talking about.
So this guy keeps offering me to lead this like Yugoslavia, right? And I'm like, no, I'm fine. I don't want to. Blah blah blah. So eventually we get into a call, and I'm like, what's up? And he's talking to me. He's like, I have something to show you. I'm like, what do you have to show me? What's so important to show me right now? He turns on his cam. Nerfer dude comes out of nowhere and sits down in his chair.
Oh my god.
And I'm like freaking out. I'm like, ah, what was that? I literally spurred out, jumped up, and was like, what just happened? Sat down, put on my headphones. Nerfer dude smiling with his like mustache, and he's like, hi, Alec. And I'm sitting there like, oh no.
Oh my god, bro.
And
What
so
the hell?
apparently Nerfer lives in the same area that Eric lives in New York. And so they met up one day and they've been friends. And so apparently like Nerfer like went to his house and they like hang out or something. It's like, huh. That's he actually told me in the call. I was asking him, like, I'm like, would you teleport to his house? He's like, yeah. And he said, if you join us, I can help teleport to your house too. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, I
Well,
can visit you and stuff. I'm like, oh no, oh
I,
no, Nerfer's
I
gonna
want you
raid.
coming to my house, Nerfer. Good
Yeah,
lord.
yeah. Come to my house and I'll introduce you to my gun cabinet.
Taking some influence from General John, I see.
Yeah,
Good lord.
you know.
What a weirdo, honestly, man.
Yeah. So that happened, and I rejected his offer. I'm like, well, nice ambush you got me there, Nerf, but I'm not interested in leading Yugoslavia because I got my own ship planned with Zofio and Lavo.
Hmm.
And he was very disappointed. He was like, oh, all right. See you on the battlefield, you dirty Strasserist. Because he thinks that Zofio is like, and Lavo are like Strasserists and stuff. And I'm
What?
like, they're not even
That
close.
makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, he's like, that's why they make socialist Germany's, because they are Strasserists. I'm like,
Oh
oh,
my
frick
god.
me, Nerfer. They're not anything close to far-right ideology. They're trying to make groups, and Lavo is just like, I don't know, another warlord leader, I suppose. They don't have any political motivations. They never really have,
Mhm.
so...
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
Jeez.
but yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. So thanks for contacting me and coming on this podcast. Hopefully you
Mhm.
enjoyed. Suppose that's it.
All
Thank
right.
you, YouTube, for watching, and hopefully have a nice day. And farewell.